my name is Noe, and today we're going to see how to create a general journal. In order to do so, we just need to go to the general journal, and we can do so by looking in the tell me what you want to do function. This is going to open the following: general journals and journal templates. Okay, just to mention, if you want to create a general journal, you should have at least one value that is called a default value, this one. This is a batch, okay, because somebody is going to work through this batch. This is me today working, but then later, if somebody else is going to do another general journal, could be Diana, could be Hector, or could be a monthly journal. Each of these batches is going to have its own lines and will be working independently, so everybody can work on different journals at the same time. In order to create a new batch, and just to mention, we just click on new, and then we just can insert a new name like the rent payment. This will be only for rent as an example, right? Then if necessary, if for my journal that I will use, I always will require an offsetting account. That could be the case. Let's do it. I will include now my offsetting account will be a bank account. This will be then selecting, we could select GL account or bank account as well, right? As my offsetting account, I will be including the checking bank. So the rent that I will be doing will be paid with checking bank, but this is not my journal. This is just a batch that I can select. So you will have always your default value, okay? And somebody else will be posting using the expenses, GL expenses, posting the rent against any expenses GL account. So today I'm gonna work as well in the default value, and look at this. This is just my journal that I will be using. Nobody will be in this moment working with this one. And then I have this petty cash account. That's fine. And then the document number and the date of the actual transaction. Here the idea is that you select first your account, right? So with this, I would say I will pay any given expense, right? Then the other field that you need to then work with is the GL for the offset transaction. Okay, this could be as well, like I was explaining, a bank account. That behind the scene, the bank as well will have a GL, of course. But in this case, you manually will select your own account as you wish. Let's say, let me look for the rent account. The rent expenses 60,100. Good. So I have my offsetting account already. Then it will be important to mention what will be the currency code of your transaction. In this case, it depends. Well, from here you are going to be able to select then this operation. So if you, just in case, for instance, I'm going to select Mexican peso, right? If that's going to be the case, you just need to click on these three dots, right, which is going to give you immediately your exchange rate for the actual amount and using the currency against the currency that you are here configuring, right? If you leave this blank, this is local currency. Important to understand this. And the way we actually work with the journals will be exactly just like this, okay? This is one format to create a line. With 100, I will be crediting my account, and here I'll be debiting my petty cash as an example. If you don't like that methodology, from here you actually are going to then include other line from where you can actually insert more information or other lines. Okay, let's pay another type of expenditure, and then I'm gonna pay any given fee. Let me see. Okay, bank charges and fees. Okay, and for this will be $30. Good. So here now we have two different lines, right? And what we are going to do now with the document is are these two lines going to be part of the same journal or the same document number? In this moment, Business Central gave us two different document numbers. If we are going to then create this as one single document, we could just change, and these two lines now have the same document number. We need to balance the journal, and in order to do so, we are using this methodology of inserting the line, inserting the amount, and the offset account in the same line. Once again, we are inserting my petty cash account. I'm going to use this for paying two lines using the same document number and the same posting date will be considered one single journal, one single document number, and then in this structure we have the offsetting line for this the offsetting account for this line here and the second here. This is a methodology how we actually use this, okay? And then we are going to be as well able to post this journal just for the first exercise, correct? Here as well you might have this specific type of warnings, which is or errors, which are telling us that we require a dimension. This is often used in Business Central. We use GL accounts and dimensions in combinations to provide with the correct information each transaction. In this case, what is the department that is paying the rent for this account 6400? Okay, and then if the system and if you actually have this type of configuration, this is mandatory, okay? But don't worry, at this moment we are going to be able then to indicate which department, which is basically a dimension, don't forget. Let's go just to line, and then we use the dimensions, okay? The dimension concept is because, well, you're gonna get this type of errors. We have a logical information behind different transactions, like in this case, if you're gonna post against my expenses account, you need to tell me in which department you actually work. As an example of for which module, for which department you are actually paying this. Let's say that this will be for administration. This is our administration department. Good. And then as well, I'm going to do the same with the second. Okay. Then this will be for the department, the second line. Now specifically, look how I'm changing. This will be for who's going to pay for the sales, okay? The sales department. So you see that we have two different dimensions in two different lines. That's optionally, they could have the same dimension, or in this case, two departments. Good. And then this will be important to mention. Okay, if you are using them, then you can actually preview. Then if you are using your dimensions like I have done, this could be mandatory or just optional or just a simple warning. Now I'm using the posting preview function that is going to allow me to verify in advance, well, in detail, all the actual debits and credits that I'm about to post, and of course the GL accounts related to the transaction, so you can see 100 here minus 100 here, which will be debit and credit, just to mention. Okay, now this is using signs. Everything that I have explaining is using positive or negative, as you can see here in the preview. So this is maybe something that you as an accountant, you don't like this actual type of design, okay? If needed as well, what we can do is to actually change the actual layout. Let me just show you. To instead of a positive or negative, right, we better change our design to use debit and credit fields. So you know, well, most of the system actually will use that type of design, right? So let me just change the layout. Instead of using this positive and negative, in this case positives, well, what I'm going to click is on page. I'm going to click on show fewer columns. If you use this function, it's quite interesting to see this. Okay, in this case, I'm going to use the debit, okay, and credit then fields. If you want to prepare a journal like this, right, then you would need to, for instance, if I have 130 here, all right, okay, you would need to insert a third line. Let me give you an example. I'm going to come back to the, so you can see the actual exercise, how these different layouts work. So I need to delete. After doing this exercise, we can just actually post this journal, right? But if you don't like this type of positive, negative signs and balancing using this offsetting account, what we are going to do is then just change the layout and to use it with the debit and credit logic. Okay, so I have my petty cash here, and then I will be inserting once again, but below this one, the rent expense. So we are going to structure our lines, right, and balance this journal in this way, using the credit and debit fields. Okay, that will be here as well, something that you can do. Okay, the idea is that your balance is in the end zero. Okay, important. And then for this I have my debit, okay, and credit, and this is the other layout that you are going to be able to use. Okay, so it's up to you, how you want to use it, but here you can see debits and credits. All right, and then for me, I just wanted to explain you that Business Central has these two type of layouts, okay? But before moving, I'm going to just explain one last thing, and I'm gonna come back to the previous layout I was explaining, okay? So this would be then, I'm gonna use the petty cash account again, and here as well, oh no, here I have the rent expenditure, sorry. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna use rent for both of them. Okay, so this is the other way once again. But now in this moment, if you need, right, you can request an approval. We have them. We can create an approval journal for this type of criteria. Or if you see that you want to block a 1GL account, if you want to protect it, you can trigger an approval workflow if needed. Don't worry. Okay, and we can help you with that. So whenever you use specific accounts or general journals before they being posted, you can send them for somebody else to review this information, right? So that will be basically the main idea of any given journal, and then just you can post it like I'm just doing so just right now. And then that function is this one, post. This is what is going to then basically record all this information in our GL. Okay, so after this, I would like then just to mention that we can as well reverse. Okay, so we go to the general ledger entries. Okay, and the idea here, let me see if I can open a window. Good. Okay, and the idea here is that we're gonna generate, for instance, with the posting date. Okay, posting date, we're gonna get different transactions and all the different historical information that we are actually have. Okay, for instance, I have here other petty cash transactions, repairs and maintenance, I see rent expense. Okay, another one. So the idea here is that, well, you're gonna be able to see all your transactions. Important just to mention, if you want to actually look for the history, because you might need to reverse or correct some information. So here, the general ledger entries is the place to look for. Why? Because if we actually open this window, what I'm doing now is just designing. So please do the following with me. What I'm going to do is just now go into the personalized function, okay? Because if you are about to look for or reverse information, you would need to actually look for the actual user who did something. And the personalization mode actually works this way. It's going to present you, if you click on field, then this vertical all these different fields will be available for you to select. So for instance, I will need the user ID, which I can just drag and drop right into my actual window where I'm going to check historical information. That's good. So now I'm going to show you my users. Well, these guys have been working lately, no problem. But basically as well, you can include your source code, which is going to tell you basically the module, okay? The module where we are going to receive information from. Let me show you where it is. Source code. So this is a general journal. This is inventory post costing, okay? So you're gonna get like a specific list, well, of different sources. We have intercompany, physical inventory, item journals. So you can see we have plenty of different modules that are my source. From which place am I affecting, apart from the user who did it, all right? From which is the source of this information, which module is generating. But there are others like resource code, source type, right? So if you are working with intercompany, then we are going to use the IC partner code. which is the partner against I posted something. If you use fixed assets, okay, let's just look for the fixed asset entry type. Okay, so just giving you some insights, but this is quite more advanced. Okay, just telling you that that exists. Little by little we are gonna continue learning. The thing here is that, well, let's say that any of these transactions, okay, I want to reverse, I want to correct. The thing is that I'm not going to be able just to basically delete information in Business Central. That's not possible. But what I'm going to do is just select any of them. Okay, this is a petty cash accounts or repairs and maintenance account. Okay, petty cash against some maintenance processes that were held. No problem. If there was an error with this, you can just review your entries. Okay, just in case, what did you do with that? Okay, what is happening with the petty cash account as an example? So continue with that, but at some point, if you just want to just reverse, we can just reverse the transaction or correct your dimensions. Remember that we as well are using general journals, which is often manually, so we are going to always need to correct this. But in order to reverse, which is basically have no effect on the accounting side, even though I'm not going to delete. If it posted with a debit, it's going to post now a credit against, for instance, the repairs and maintenance account, okay, in this case. So the idea here is that we can just click on reverse and print, okay. So let's see. I'm going to click on reverse, and this is going to ask me, okay, this, and tell you that this is going to post like correcting entries. And that's exactly the idea that I wanted just to explain. We do not really delete. Oh, sorry. I have a restriction on my posting date, and it's good to have this because you, in order to post and to do this type of things, okay, just to mention, the general setup actually is going to have some specific dates that are very important from where you are or from where your company is allowed to post and allowed posting to. Okay, this is a range of dates from where I'm going to be able to do this type of operations. This is selected by your company and your accountant. Normally we just use the current month in order to actually just do that. Okay, but now that I have just reversed my entries, like in this case entries were successfully reversed, and then I'm going to be able to see now that, well, 2 entries were done, okay, first, and you can see now, well, that I have the opposite, well, signs. Remember that this is once again the debit and credit criteria or logic, okay? So this is the way we are going to be able to just do so. Check, well, all your entries, the users who did them. These are, by the way, dimensions, okay, and as well you can see the source, you can see the balancing account numbers, debit and credit amount, okay. So everything here is in the general ledger entries or your history. Nothing is deleted. And in any case, well, where you are super sure about reversing something, just go into the reverse transaction, correct dimensions, or just find entries to see what transactions or what other lines were affected, okay, or linked to this simple line, this 200 as an example, but there might be a journal that was including 50 other lines. So if you need to understand the complete scenario of any given line that you see here in our history, we check all the entries, and this is going to open for us, well, that this actual entry or journal currently, well, is just basically handling 4 lines. Okay, and I'm explaining this because this is showing us that in one single transaction we have the previous posting and the and the reversal we did, okay, as one single document number that was using the document number 4, and well, even if we reverse it, we are still posting again the document number, and this is what happens when we reverse transaction. If needed, just in case, we just can from here open your GL accounts when you require it, okay, so you can actually see additional information, right, regarding your specific GL account, okay. So from here we just basically can navigate from your journal to check the GL account card just in case, and well, at last but not least, what is the actual balance. So here we can see that we don't have an affection anymore. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much for your time, and see you next webinar.